So hello guys, welcome to the video. So in this video we will solve the question merge intervals. So firstly we will understand the question and then we will try to solve it. So the question is, we will be provided with n intervals. Alright, so we will be provided with some intervals and an interval is defined as sp comma ep, and sp means the starting point, ep means the ending point of an interval. Alright, and sp ep are inclusive. Alright, so what are we given with? We are given with some intervals, and intervals are given as sp and ep, that means the starting point and ending point. Alright, so we are given with the starting point and ending point of an interval. That means some intervals may or may not overlap each other. Alright, it means that some intervals may or may not overlap each other. That means there is a probability that two intervals may overlap each other or share some numbers in common. Alright, or share some digits in common, and it is a probability that it may not overlap. All right, your task is to merge all overlapping intervals. All right, so I have to merge all the intervals which are overlapping to each other. All right, so let me take it to the board and I will explain you by example. So I have taken a sample input from there. So the sample input is kept inside a 2D array. So let me create this. I have created a 2D array, and let me fill this 2D array by 1, 3, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 14, and 7, 9. Alright, so this is how a 2D array filled. Now what we have to do, let me explain you what we are doing and what we are getting. So I have created a timeline for you guys, and inside this I will create a intervals. All right, so the intervals are starting point is 1 and ending point is 3. So this side is ending point and this side is starting point. All right, I hope you all know this. So the starting point is 1 and ending point is 3. So I'll create an interval from 1 to 3. All right, now the second starting point is starting from 2 and ending at 4. So we are starting it from 2 and ending at 4. All right, third is 6, 8. So 6 is the starting point and 8 is the ending point. Now next 10, 14. So 10 is the starting point and 14 is the ending point. Now next 7 and 9. So 7 is the starting point and 9 is the ending point. Alright, so let me create this 7, 9 below. Yes. So now what will I do? I have to merge the overlapping intervals. So are there any overlapping intervals in this? So we have to see this. We have to get this. How? We will first go at every interval and see that the starting point of every second interval, if it is smaller than the ending point of this interval. Alright, so if the starting point of this interval is smaller than the ending point of the last interval, that means it should merge and it is overlapping. Alright, and if it is overlapping, the output, this was the input for you guys. Let me write input with black. It was the input given by the user, and now I'll write the output here. I'll start it from the starting index only, but end at I will check that the greater index, or let me see, the point which is greater, or the ending point which is greater in both of them, is my ending point. So 3 is smaller than 4, that means 4 is greater. So I have to start it from 1 but end it at 4. Alright, so I have to start it from 1 but end at 4. So this is my answer because I have merged a overlapping interval. Alright, I hope you understood this. Alright, so we will go further. Now for the second thing, I'll see that if there is a starting point which is smaller than my ending point, alright, if it is smaller than my ending point and it is coming in between my interval, so it should overlap. Alright, so it will start from 6 and end at the element from which is greater than these two ending points. So the ending point is, one ending point is 8 and one ending point is 9, so 9 is greater than 8. So what we will do, I will write this interval, I will merge this interval till 9. So the second answer is 6 comma 9. Alright, and for the third interval I have no intervals left with by which it will overlap, so I'll write it as it is, 10 comma 14, and we'll check that if this is only the output. So yes, this is only the output, 1 comma 4, 6 comma 9, 10 comma 14. So this is the output for this question, this input. Alright, I hope you understood it. So now I explained you the question, what we have to do, and I hope you understood the question. Now I will make you understand how we will approach the solution. Alright, so for approaching the solution, what we have to think that we can't create this timeline inside our code. Alright, so how can we keep the closer elements together? Obviously, if I want to keep the closer elements together or the closer numbers together, I can sort it out. Alright, and if I sort it out, should I take this 0 as a reference to sort this out? Alright, yes, because if I sort it out by taking my starting point as an index, as a reference, alright, if I sort it out by taking my starting point as a reference, so it will give me all the starting points in ascending order. Alright, that will increase my speed and that will give me proper answer. Alright, as I can check the second let me first sort this out. So 1 2 6 is sorted, only 10 14 and 7 9 should get sorted. So 7 9 10 14, so this is a sorted array. Alright, so this is sorted, but yeah, I was telling you that we are sorting it by the reference of starting point. So why we are sorting it by the reference of starting point? Because if I sort this by a reference of starting point, so I will write 1 comma 3, let's say 1 comma 3, 2 comma 4, 6 comma 8, 6 comma 8. So what does this mean? Now it will be easier for me to check my starting point with the last ending point. Alright, so every time I have to check my starting point with my last ending point. Alright, because it is a sorted array. Alright, so I hope you understood it, why we sorted it by the reference of starting point only. So now I will create this intervals again. So I will write 1 comma 3, 2 comma 4, 6 comma 8, 7 comma 9, 10 comma 14. Alright, so these are the sorted arrays, the sorted intervals with the reference of starting points. So now every time I will go inside my code and I will create this as my interval. I will take this pair as the name of interval. Let me write it here, interval, and I will check that the value of this ending point, alright, the value of this ending point, the value of this starting point should, if it is smaller than the value of my previous interval. I'll tell you what's previous interval. Value of previous interval 1th value. Alright, just wait, I will tell everything. So let me just start from here. Take example, I'll starting from here. So this is my interval, and this is my previous interval. Alright, for an example, I am telling you we'll start from here only, but for example, just assume that we are starting from here, and this is our previous interval and this is our interval. So this is our interval, and the previous interval value is, previous interval 1 value is 3. Alright, so 3 should be greater than the value of interval 0. So interval is this, and interval 0 value is 2. So if this is true, so that means overlapping occurred. Alright, so this condition I will check every time, and if this condition is true, then my overlapping will occur. Alright, I hope you understood this. For next time, I'll check it with this 4. Let me change the pen, blue. This 4 with this 6, then this 8 with this 7, then this 9 with this 10, and every time we will get that the overlapping is occurring or not. Alright, so I hope you understood this. So let me just undo this all and create a clean array. So now we have a sorted intervals. So every time we will come inside and check that this interval's value is smaller than my previous interval's value. If it is smaller than my previous interval's value, then it is overlapping. This interval's value is smaller than my previous interval's value, then it is overlapping. And if it is overlapping, then check whose ending point is greater. And whose ending point is greater is the value of the ending point of that interval, merged interval. Alright, so now let me delete this all, and I have to tell you just the last important thing for this question. So in this question, there are only 3 cases which will occur. So the case 1 is, if my interval is from 1 to 6, and second interval is from 6 to 10, let's say 1 to, let's say 6, and second interval is from 6 to 10. If this is not a overlapping interval, because this is not overlapping anywhere. Alright, so this will not be considered into overlapping interval, and no overlapping will get occurred here. Alright, I hope you understood this. Now I will short this to make some space for other cases. Alright, so this was case 1. Now I'll write case 2. So the case 2 is, if I start a value from 1 and end interval at 6, and the interval is started from 3 and end at 8. That means this is a partial overlapping. Alright, because in this partially from here to here it is overlapping, so it is a partial overlapping. Alright, now I will make it short. I hope you understood these 2 cases. It's very simple. And the third case is, if I start my interval from 1 to, let's create this interval bigger, from 1 to, let's say 10. Alright, and there is an interval occurring in between from 3 to 6. Alright, so this case is a explanation of complete overlapping. Alright, so this case is meant by complete overlapping. So I will short this also. Alright, so there are only these three cases which we have to tackle in this question. Alright, so only these three cases will occur and we have to tackle these three cases only in this question. Alright, so one is no overlapping, one is partial overlapping, and one is complete overlapping. So we will tackle this all three test cases and we have to first sort the array. Then we have to check the condition that this is smaller than this or not. This interval 0 value is smaller than previous intervals 1 value or not. If it is yes, then I'll check that. Yeah, one more thing, I have to create a 2D vector every time. Alright, I have to create a 2D vector every time. And let me just tell you also that when I create a 2D vector, I have to fill inside if it is empty. If this 2D vector is empty, what we have to do? We have to fill the first interval inside this. So I'll write my 1,3 because something should be inside to check every time. So my 1,3 will be inside, and now I'll check that. Now this 2,4 will occur. Alright, so this is the dry run of the code. This 2,4 will this interval will occur, and this interval's first value will be checked with the ending point. This interval's starting point will be checked with my ending point of the value. Alright, if it is smaller, then it means overlapping will occur, and after that these two values 3 and 4 are checked that which value is greater. Either 3 is greater or 4 is greater. So 3 is greater or 4 is greater. 4 is greater. If 4 is greater, so my ending point should be at 4. Alright, so just remember one thing. Now one more thing. Now I will check this value, check this 6 with 4. Alright, and I will see that 4 is smaller than 6. So it means no overlapping will be occurred with this. So I will create a line with it, and I will push my 6,8 inside. Alright, I'll push my 6,8 inside this, and I'll check that this ending point, if it is greater than the starting point of this interval. Alright, we have came here. So this starting point is smaller than my last ending point. Yes, so it means interval will occur, and we will check the values from 8 and 9, whichever is greater. So 9 is greater, so I will delete this 8 and put 9 inside it. Alright, and I will extend it out, or sorry, every time we have to check. So before checking I can't create a line, before checking I can't create a difference. So now what I have to do, now I will check this ending point. Now we are here at the last, so I have to check this 9 by this 10. So the starting point is greater than the ending point. That means no overlapping may occur, and I have to push this value inside this. So I will push this 10, 14 inside this, and this is the last value, and no intervals are left. So this is our final answer. So we have to return this answer to our main function. Alright, so I hope you understood all this explanation. Now we will code this question out, and we will jump onto the Nados and code this question in Java. Alright, so we are given a function with the return type of 2D array, and we are also passed with a 2D array of name intervals. Alright, so firstly what will we do? We will first sort the array by the reference of starting index. Alright, and starting index is at the index 0. So I'll write first arrays.sort, and the sorting is occurring inside intervals, but at the reference of. So in Java we have a compare function which compares the two values of inside the array only, and whichever is bigger it will sort accordingly. Alright, so for that I have to write that inside this intervals 2D array, I have to check my a comma b, these are variables, and I have to create this arrow and write the function integer dot compare comma. So what we have to compare now? We have to fetch the 0th element of first index. So how we will fetch it? A0, and we have to fetch the second index. So I will write B0. All right, and this will give us a sorted array with reference of starting index or starting point. Sort the array with reference of starting point. All right, now the next line. So now I have to create an array list for storing my result, and then afterwards I will create it in an 2D array, because inside array list we can create it easily, because we do not know how many intervals may occur, so we can't give any size to it. We cannot give any size to it, so array list is the best option. So I will create a array list of integer array types. Sorry, I'll tell you, I have taken an integer array of name result as new array list. All right, so why I have taken an array list of type which is storing a 1D array? All right, sorry, it is storing a array inside it, because every time I will come inside it, this is a array for him, this is a array for it, and this is a array for it. So it will convert this array into a 2D array that will give us a correct answer. So I have created an array list of type array, integer array. Now I will run a for loop on these intervals. All right, so I'll write a for each loop, which is intervals. No, I will take it a small I. I will take a 1D array and access every element from the intervals, or every pair from the intervals. All right, now by coming inside, what I was checking, that if my result array list, this result array list is empty, so what I have to do, I have to push something inside it. So I'll check that if my result array list is empty, so I have to push the first interval inside it. So I will push my interval pair inside it. This array will fetch all the pairs one by one from this interval 2D array here. This if condition is completed, and if this if condition does not work, that means there is something inside already the result array. So now I have to check that what is inside and what is the next, or let me say that firstly I will create my previous interval, let's say. So inside previous interval, what I was keeping, that if this is my interval, so this was my previous interval, and if this is my previous interval, yes, it is inside this result. All right, so what I will get, that get from the last size minus 1. So the last interval which is kept, get that and put it inside my interval array, pre-interval array. All right, now this is done. Now the condition which I was checking there, that if my pre-interval's one value is greater than, or let's say smaller than, let's say greater than only, greater than interval, I have to take this interval, small interval, 0th value, then what I have to do, that means there is overlapping. So I'll write overlapping occurred, and inside this previous interval 1, what I will do? So overlapping is occurred, and we all know the starting point. The starting point is the starting point of my previous interval only. But the ending point, what is the ending point? What should be the ending point? The number which is greater than this 3 and 4. All right, the number which is greater than this 3 or 4. So what will we write? Math.max, and the value of previous interval 1, comma interval 1. Sorry. Interval 1, the value which is greater in between both of this will be my ending point of the overlapping of the merged interval. All right, and if this condition does not work, that means my previous interval is smaller. This condition, my previous interval is smaller than my next interval, so I will push my next interval inside it. So I'll write res dot add interval only. All right, so now the question is done, and this was only the code for this, but at last we have to input we have to give a return type value as 2D array. So what will I do? I'll convert it in 2D array. So I'll write return result dot to array. Now I have to convert this 2D array array list in array. So I will write new int of 2D size res dot size, and another is left. All right, so this will convert my this will create first my new array, and the size of this new array will be res dot size, and it will convert and it will transfer all the values inside it. So, and it will return it. So now let me run this code and see if it works or not. Yes, it is successfully compiled. So let me submit and see how many test cases are passed. So alright, all 8 test cases are passed. So that means this code is correct, and I hope you understood this code. And if you have any queries, then do go in backwards and see the video again and see the explanation part again, because code is simple and code is similar to the explanation only. Alright, and do try run this code, then you will understand it better. Alright, so we will meet in the next video. If you like the video, please do subscribe our channel, and if you have any feedback for us, do comment down below, and we'll meet in the next video. Till then, thank you so much.